Hello everyone. Good afternoon and welcome to Coaching Think Talk. I am Coach Maan from Life Coach Philippines and this is coaching for a healthy mind space. This coaching conversation is for individuals who are experiencing uncertainty and overwhelm in their lives because of some unhealthy and negative mindsets. And it is my desire to help them break free from these thinking patterns through the renewing of their minds so they can have full and abundant lives as they journey their calling and purpose. Thank you for joining me live this afternoon, and please leave your digital footprint by letting me know where you are watching me from. Do tag a friend and please help me share this video so that we can reach more individuals who might benefit from what I will be sharing this session. And you may also greet and reach out to some of your friends and people you may know by leaving an inspiring message for them through the comment section. And by the way, if you happen to just, come across this video by chance, we are streaming via FB page of Life Coach Philippines, and we are also live in YouTube channel Coach AI Connect. So if you are new to any of these platforms, please like, follow, and subscribe. So allow me to introduce myself. I am Coach Maan Lamorena. I am a certified life coach from Life Coach Philippines, of course. I am also a certified mental toughness coach. And when I wasn't doing life coaching 24/7, I am a wife and a mother. And before I switched to life coaching, I was an HR practitioner for 10 years. Then after that, I switched to freelancing as a digital specialist. I was handling local and foreign brands. And at the same time, I coach a football and futsal team. This is a high school team here in General Santos up until the pandemic. And since then, I have discovered my passion in serving others through the profession of life coaching. And here I am. And I am also the creator of this Facebook community, this Facebook group called You Renewed. This is a group where I share my thoughts and ideas on how we can win the battle that we wage in our minds. And if this is something that you are passionate about, you are interested to know more of, I hope that you can join my group. And if you want to connect with me, you may also reach me at my Facebook page, Coach Maan. If you haven't yet, please like and follow it as well. And I hope to connect with you one of these days. So as I go about my topic this afternoon, I hope that you can share whatever thoughts and insights you may have in your timeline so that more people can learn and be encouraged. And you may also, please include these hashtags, hashtag pack my bag moment, hashtag coaching TikTok, and hashtag a healthy mind space. And again, this is coaching for a healthy mind space. Having a healthy mind space is essential. Whether we are in the middle of a pandemic or not, I believe that having a healthy mind space is as important. It's truly as important as having a healthy and clean physical space. Because, any unhealthy thoughts and negative mental clutter that you have in your mind, if left unattended, will make it challenging for a person like you and me to think clearly, to process our thoughts better. And sometimes it would even prevent us from making better decisions. So it is very important. It is very essential because ultimately, our thoughts drive our emotions, and these emotions lead to our actions. So before I begin, I would just like to acknowledge those who are joining me this afternoon. Hello, Coach Glacy, Coach Saivel. Thank you for taking the time to be here. Hello to my dear husband, Jay. Again, thank you. That's my number one fan right there watching. Anyway, today I will be discussing the 5 ways that we can develop grit in our life. And going back, I've mentioned earlier that I coach football, and I was a former football player in my high school and college days, which was a long time ago. So me and my husband, we would always watch big football sporting events such as World Cup, Euro, and the recently concluded Copa America. And for this year's Copa America, the team that went against each other in the finals is Brazil which is the team of Neymar, and also Argentina, which is the team of Lionel Messi. So if you're not familiar with the two of them, they are actually two of the among the top footballers in the world right now. And so anyway, they went against each other in the finals, and Argentina finally won the finals. And a lot of fans were happy. So this is the Argentina team. They were celebrating their win. They were a lot of fans were happy because Lionel Messi, he's also a player for another team, Barcelona. This is his first time to actually win a finals trophy representing his country. And this was after he already represented Argentina in six Copa America tournaments and four World Cups. So that's a total of 10. And then he's able to only win one, even though he's considered the greatest of all time. But the interesting thing about this win of Messi is that before this actual win in 2016, their team, Argentina, was also in the finals. And they went against Chile. But the thing is, they lost there. So after that, he was so devastated with the loss. He decided to retire from international football. And he said that okay, he's not gonna don the national jersey anymore, and he'll just focus on the club level. But anyway, that this was him during the finals in 2016 when when the loss is finally getting through him and he's realizing that okay, they didn't make it. But after a few months, after a few months of him announcing that he would retire, there was another announcement, and he said that finally he's going back, probably for the last time, to represent his country in the next Copa America. And when he was announced, when he was interviewed, um, okay, why did you decide to come back? You already said that you will retire. And this is what he said. He said that his love for Argentina and the jersey forced him to return. And fast forward to 5 years after, he finally won a trophy for his country. And he's not the only famous person to ever bounce back from a defeat, to experience failure. There's this also famous sportsman, Michael Jordan. I'm sure you're familiar with him. Did you know that he is considered the greatest basketball player ever to play in the NBA, right? But did you know that he was actually cut out of his high school team because at his height of 5'11", he was told and he was considered too short to be playing at that level, and that he actually lacked the necessary skills to play basketball. Huh. It's quite hard to believe now, but this is fact. And you can just imagine, when you hear Michael Jordan, Michael Jordan is really synonymous to basketball or to NBA. And he redefined the game with his talent, with his skills, with his speed, and even his attitude. And when interviewed about how he faced this disappointment when he was cut in high school, what he said is this: whenever I was working out and got tired and figured I ought to stop, I'd close my eyes and see that list in the locker room without my name on it, and that usually got me going again. And from two sportsmen, let's go to the world of, or the realm of, science and technology. I know some of you, or most of you who are watching, the other coaches, they're very familiar with this guy here. Elon Musk, the CEO of Tesla and the chief engineer of SpaceX. And they with SpaceX, of course, they attempted to land a rocket at sea. That was their first plan, and then it failed. But that was not enough to deter Musk and the rest of the SpaceX team, considering that at the first failure they already lost billions of money, because that's just really the investment you make when you plan to fly a rocket and land it back. They repaired the rocket, and they made some adjustments, and then they tried again the second time, and this time they failed once again. So they did some improvements again, tried again, failed, tried again, failed. Now, each attempt to safely land, because their goal was not just to fly the rocket and bring it back to Earth, but to fly the rocket out and land it back at sea. So they were very specific with that. So each of their attempt to safely land that rocket into sea was really met with a hard landing. It would delay them for months. But each delay caused them to, see new information that would help them improve their next attempt. So finally, on April 8th, 2016, for their fifth attempt, SpaceX accomplished the task of launching a payload into space, and they landed it back, the first stage rocket, safely on a floating barge in the middle of the ocean. And after numerous failures, they did not give up. And this is what Elon Musk had to say about his numerous attempts before they finally succeeded. He said that when something is important enough, you do it, even if the odds are not in your favor. Wow. And many of us, we all have our own dreams and our goals, and we always try our best to achieve them, no matter what. In different ways, different attempts, different seasons, we do that. And all of us have encountered challenges that for some, it caused them to already stop and quit, stop dreaming and quit. Now, for others, they realize that their failure in their attempt will allow them to reassess what they were doing, how they are, managing things, and also redefine how they predict and measure their success. And many times, even I included, we were all taught that talent is enough. That when you're skilled, when you're talented, when you're intelligent, it's enough to be successful. It's enough to achieve your dreams. It's enough to reach your goals. That's it. That okay, you're smart, you're talented, you're intelligent. That's it. But the truth is, it's not. It's really not just the talent and the skills. Of course, it will help, but it's really about how mentally strong you can be when the obstacles, when the failures continue to mount and the challenges just keeps on coming back, it lingers a little longer and you're just staying in that position of being a failure for the longest time that you've ever imagined. Success is not just about the talent. It's really about the grit, that resilience, that toughness that you have to aim for the goals and try to reach them. And so we've heard of grit. There's even a book written about grit. But what is it? And the dictionary definition would say that grit is the courage and resolve, strength of character that one has to pursue. Even Angela Duckworth, she's a psychologist and also an author, said that grit is perseverance and passion to achieve long-term goals. She also further explained it as this: grit is having the stamina, grit is sticking with your future day in, day out, and not just for the week, not just for the month, but for years. Grit is living life like it's a marathon, not a sprint. And many of us are conditioned to believe that it only takes talent and intelligence to succeed. But grit is what brings that extra mile, that extra flavor towards success. Of course, we cannot discount talent and intelligence. I'm not saying that, but you cannot truly thrive without grit. You cannot flourish without it. Your ability to persevere in the face of adversity is what will drive your success and bring in these achievements. And that's where grit comes in. The ability to be gritty, to pursue what's important to you, and to be tough in the face of failure is a crucial component of success. This is a crucial component independent of and beyond what talent and intelligence can contribute. So let's just get that out there. Really, because all the talent in an individual could just as easily be, it could just as easily remain as potential. It can just be potential, and that's about it. Without the presence of grit, without the perseverance, for talent to transform into a skill that leads you to success, you need to have the grit and mental toughness to persevere. There has to be an action done done with that talent and skill that you have. It cannot just be stagnant in you. But of course, grit and mental toughness is not just in achieving success. For most of us, especially this time of, in the middle of a pandemic, grit can actually spell the difference between overcoming our daily challenges and giving up. It could be the big difference in helping us get through the pandemic and just going through the pandemic. And the good thing with grit, though, is that a person is not born with it. Meaning, if you don't have it, it doesn't mean that you cannot have it. It can be developed, it can be nurtured. And that's what we will discuss today. We'll discuss how we can develop grit in our life so that we can apply it in whatever domains, we can apply it in whatever circumstances we have, and be on our way to success. Whether it's a lifelong dream that you've been trying to achieve, or it's just simply getting through the week, getting through the month, we all need grit. And this is how we will build it. So the first thing to understand is a very important factor of grit is that it's important for us to pursue our interests and passions. And wait, you're probably wondering, okay, what does my passion and interest have to do with grit? Well, it actually has a lot to do with it. When you think about it, it's actually very hard to start doing something that you don't really care about. So just imagine how harder it will be to stick for the long term, in the long run, with something that doesn't interest you at all. And that is why knowing your passion can be helpful in helping you build the grit you need to succeed. You see, when you work for something that you are passionate about, the motivation and inspiration, it just comes naturally. You don't need to dig deep and find it deep inside you. It just flows naturally. And so much so that when obstacles cross you, it crosses your mind, it comes across your situation, you don't mind it as much. Of course, it hurts, it challenges you, but you don't mind it as much because your desire and interest in the said activity is always worth more, or it will always outweigh any challenges that you encounter. That is if you are doing what you're passionate and interested about. But of course, in reality, most of us don't end up doing what we dreamed of doing growing up. Either because our perfect or that dream job doesn't exist right now, or we had making a living took precedence. And don't worry, if you're in that situation, actually a lot of people are in that situation because a recent study by Gallup said that only 20% of people are doing what they love. And that is why it is all the more important for us to set aside time to really try to find our passions. Pay attention to what you actually yearn for, what you desire deep in your heart to do. You, the thing is, you may not get it right the first time, but do not close that door. Because when you think about it, just imagine for a minute here. Does the thought of a particular project or activity make you feel light and free? Or does it make you feel heavy and dreading doing it? So when you push yourself towards the things that you dread, yes, it may make you persistent, especially if it's something that's related to you making a living. But doing this in the long run could eventually lead to burnout and dissatisfaction. But if you find something that is within your passion, within your interest, and you really do it, even if, for example, you're doing it on the side and you still have your job to think of, at the side, you're already starting to build your grittiness, your mental toughness because you're doing it. So that's why do not close that door of finding and pursuing your interests and your passions. And going back to the story of Messi, football is his passion. It was his interest since when he was younger, and that was enough for him to get out of retirement and don the national jersey again to represent his country and to try to win again. And yes, at the end, he succeeded. He and his teammates, they won. That's because he did not let go of that passion. He pursued his interest and his passion. And that's just the first thing that you can do. Now, the second thing is Here, I'm sorry, I was not able to show this slide, but it says that when you work for something that you are passionate about, the motivation and inspiration to do it just comes naturally. So now to my second point, when you find your passion, when you realize what your interests are, you practice, and more practice. So pinpointing or identifying what you are passionate about is not enough, because then it will just be knowledge. It will just be knowledge that, okay, this is what I'm passionate about, but you're not doing anything about it. Because being gritty has a lot to do with perseverance. So it's passion and perseverance, meaning you have to act on it. So for developing your perseverance, it helps to practice deliberately. It helps to practice intentionally and regularly. Dedicated practice will help make grit a habit that not only makes you skilled or more skilled at what you do, but will also help you develop the courage to keep going when things get tough, right? Because things will be tough at one point. But as you practice, you become better. You practice to improve your weakness. So that's why practice deliberately, practice intentionally, and practice regularly. In fact, for the Navy SEALs, they're one of the toughest armed forces. I hope I got that term right, um, out there. But for them, working on weaknesses through practice is very important. Former Navy SEAL James Waters said that this is exactly what makes SEALs so tough. He stated that when they go out on a mission, they always acknowledge their successes. But much more important than that is they had to take a hard look at their failures, and that they are very much willing to accept criticism. Wow. One of the key strengths of the SEAL teams is the culture of constant self improvement. No one ever says that's good enough. And on almost every real world mission he was on, even the most successful ones, they spent 90% of their post mission debrief focusing on what they did wrong or what they could have done better. So they've already succeeded, and yet they still look at what could be done better. And that's for the Navy SEALs. But for some of us, the regular folks like us, when we practice and we fail, in the off chance that we fail, even with practice, we take feedback on what can be improved from every attempt. And this is exactly what Elon Musk and his SpaceX team did. For every failure that they had when they launched the rocket, and it did not land where they wanted it to land, they discovered more information that helped them improve their next attempt. And they would not be able to they would not be able to test out the new information they got if they did not practice. So they had to test it out and they had to practice. And of course, it follows that if you want to get better at something or anything, you need to practice. Jim Ron said, "Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day." So that's practice every day, not every other day, not every other week. But if you want success, then you have to find these few simple disciplines and you have to practice it every day. That's how you build grit. You get going, you continue, despite of, in spite of. Now, the third thing, of course, that we need to understand is that pursuing your interests and working hard on improving it through practice is not just the whole formula for building grit. The third one that must be factored in is your purpose. Find your purpose. Without purpose, practice is meaningless. Your purpose is what will keep you working on your interest and passion in the long term. There really is a big difference between someone who is just a hard worker and somebody who has real grit. And the difference between them is that the one who has grit finds meaning in what he does. He has to have that meaning. He has to have that purpose. And according to Angela Duckworth, the author of the book Grit, she said that Purpose is having a sense of the greater meaning of your work and how it's important to other people, not just interesting to you. You see, when you find your purpose, it doesn't end with you, it goes externally. You begin to see the impact, the influence that you can have with what you do. And that comes with knowing your purpose. In fact, a study showed that grittier people are more, I'm sorry, grittier people are dramatically more motivated than others to seek a meaningful, other centered life. It's other centered, not self centered. And this research also said that gritty people don't merely have a job. For them, what they do is it's their calling. They don't have a job, they have a calling in their life. And those two are very, those two are very different. To illustrate the difference between having a job and knowing, your calling or your purpose, there is the story of the three bricklayers, and they were asked one day, "Hey, bricklayer one," just imagine that this is their conversation. "Bricklayer one, what are you doing?" And the first one answered, "I am laying bricks." Now, the second one was also asked, "Bricklayer two, what are you doing?" And he said, "I am building a church." And the third one, when asked, "What are you doing, bricklayer three?" And he replied, "I am building the house of God." The first bricklayer has a job. The second bricklayer has a career. But the third bricklayer has a calling. There's a difference between working hard and having a job and finding your calling. Find your purpose. Know your purpose. Know your calling, and it will help you build that grit. And the interesting thing with grit is this actually, that as you help your others through your work, it also makes you love more what you do. So it's connected. The more you help others, the more you begin to love it. And people who perform work that benefits society, according to some studies, show high levels of job satisfaction. And the more satisfied you are with your job, then definitely that leads to an upward spiral of grit. So again, if you want to build that grit, then you have to have more job satisfaction. And for you to be satisfied with your job, then you have to work for something that is meaningful to you. So it's connected. The greater the sense of purpose, the greater grit you can develop. Now, for some of you who are wondering, okay, I don't know what my purpose is. And earlier, probably some of you asked, I don't know what my passions are. I want to share this quote from T.D. Jakes. He said, "If you can't figure out your purpose, figure out your passion. For your passion will lead you right into your purpose." So there, that's a simple formula. Now, of course, you've finally found your interest and passions, you're practicing it, you found your purpose in doing it. The next thing that you have to understand with grit for you to keep going is that it's important for you to have hope. Grit and mental toughness cannot be developed without hope. In fact, the world itself, the world we live in itself, revolves on hope. And this is the key in persevering and keeping at what you do. It's hope. Hope is that one quality that all of us needs most, especially when we are faced with inevitable setbacks. We all need it. We all want it. We all desire it. And this kind of hope, this type of hope isn't just the usual, "Oh, I hope for this. I wish for things to be like this." No, this is actually an active type of hope. It's active because it's the kind of hope that pushes you to not just wish for things to be better, but to really take action and work on making things better. That's the kind of hope that you want when you want to build grit. You take action to make things better. This kind of hope that gritty people have has nothing to do with relying on luck, but everything to do with getting up again and working on it. continuing on, plowing on, just doing things, trusting the process that as the person continues to have hope, he'll get or she'll get there. Of course, failure is a necessary part of life, but with hope, you see it as an opportunity to learn, improve, and get back on your feet. And when you do that, it will only increase your likelihood of succeeding in future endeavors. Stay hopeful and positive, and know that it's okay to fail as long as you keep going. And this act of continuing, of keeping at it, at whatever it is that you want to do, at whatever it is that you're trying to build on, will help build that mental toughness, that grittiness, that resilience to make you last in the long run. And now for the final way that you can develop grit in your life. We've all, I've discussed finding your passion, practicing it, finding your purpose, having hope. All of this, it's within you. It starts with you. But another factor of building grit in your life is something that is external, something, that relates to us being social beings. And that is for us to be gritty, we have to hang out with gritty people. We are all influenced by the people with which we spend the most time. Again, to quote Jim Rohn, um, he said that you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And if we choose people in our personal and professional lives that display a high level of grit and toughness, then you are more likely to develop this practice in our daily lives. And if you don't believe me, I'm going to let you try this very simple test. So try to record the way you speak and the people you spend a lot of time with for a period of 3 days to 5 days. And you will hear that most often than not, you say the same words, you say and use the same terminologies, and you almost always echo one another, especially if you gravitate towards the same culture. So try that and let me know. Let me know what you find out. Um, but Dan Shambliss, he's a sociology professor in Hamilton College, described himself this way, using this practice and this thought. He said, look, I'm not a particularly industrious guy, but I'm hanging out with all these hardworking faculty, reading papers, writing papers, and, I just fall in line with the rest of them because that's what people do. We conform. And as social beings, we usually spontaneously model the behaviors of those around us. So, simply put, if you want to be gritty, hang out with gritty people. And Dr. Steve Maraboli said that if you hang out with chickens, you're going to cluck. But if you hang out with eagles, you are going to fly. Of course, just having grit is not a surefire guarantee to success, but nurturing it and developing it along with other positive traits can help a person's journey in getting there, in reaching their dreams, in going for their goals. Because true grit is the ability to find the strength and hope, learning from our mistakes and failures, to follow the path you have chosen for yourself, and persevere in the purpose that is of value to you, not just to you, but to the world around you. Grit is having the courage to push through no matter what the obstacles are because it's worth it. And developing grit, it takes time and intentional practice. You develop it by changing some of your thought patterns and you have to build new ones. And you have to practice it. And this is easier said than done. So let me invite you. If you're someone who's saying that your current thought patterns have been getting in the way of creating new habits for you, and it's really harder for you to create habits that stick, and it's been affecting your relationship, your career, and how you live your life, then let's have a conversation. Let's talk about how you and your life can be transformed in how you view certain mindsets in your life. You don't have to be stuck in a never ending cycle of starting habits and trying to change it. But never sticking to it, never having the grit and the toughness to continue. Because you can overcome. It's not yet too late. Know that help is available. Let's talk. And to end, just to share this. We've talked about success. We've talked about how talent and intelligence is not enough to reach that success, but that grit is an important factor. It's an extra ingredient to make it happen. Because success in the end is doing the very best I can every chance I get with what I have for a purpose that is bigger than I am and that will outlive me, says Ike Reinhardt. That is success. It's not the talent that will get you there. It's not the intelligence. It's not even the money and the connections. But it's doing the very best that you can with what you have for the purpose that was given to you, for that calling that was placed inside your heart. And you continue to have hope, and you impact and influence the people around you and their success. And as I end this conversation, let me invite you to be part of what we're doing as an organization of professional certified life coaches. So if you are not yet a smart holder of this Be Learning e-card, I want to invite you personally to become a mental model collector like us and be part of the Be Learning Society. The Be Learning Society is the tent maker of Be Learning homes for mental fitness. And this Be Learning e-card, you'll actually enjoy 5% food and beverage discount from Dcop Coffee Republic. You will also have a full access pass to the live monthly mental model masterclass by Master Coach A. Plus, you also get a 90-minute free coaching session with any of our senior coaches from Life Coach Philippines. So you're probably wondering, okay, what is mental model? This is the first time I've heard of it. The mental model is an explanation of how something works. Simply put, it's an explanation of how something works. But it is a concept, a framework, or worldview that you carry around in your mind to help you interpret the world and understand the relationship between things, these things around you. And mental models are deeply held beliefs about how the world works. That's a mental model. And why is this important? Because by building up a base of the most valuable and universal, take note, these are universal mental models, you are building up your trunks of knowledge that you can use for the rest of your life. So whatever you learn here, you can apply it for the rest of your life and in different domains of your life. So mental models are a critical category of knowledge that gets more relevant over time. So it gets relevant, over time and can be applied across a wide array of different domains, as I mentioned earlier. So it's very important, and it's not just that it's important for you to help you understand the world around you, but it will really be to your benefit because it can be applicable in different domains. So the next mental model masterclass is on August 21. Please save that date. It's at 7 p.m. and Master Coach A will cover the polymath mental model. And this is, this mental model, you can learn how you can combine the skills that you have and become the superstar in your field. So discover why the polymaths will win this 21st century as you join this masterclass. So register now. Please connect with Coach Rizal through 0917-586-1661. And for other individuals who intend to embark on a journey of becoming a certified life coach, Master Coach A now offers co-actively co-create life coach certification program. So this is a comprehensive approach to learning and mastering life coaching as an active process of creating a new path to achieving results in your life, so that success can be inevitable in every relationship. Now, this certification program actually includes a 21-day web-based learning. It also has a 3-day live coaching bootcamp with Master Coach A and an additional 3-day live business bootcamp with senior coaching team. But there are also other freebies that comes with the program. So again, kindly connect to Coach Rizal through 0917-586-1661 so that you can discover the opportunities waiting for you in the profession of life coaching. And also, I'd like to invite you for another coaching conversation at 4 p.m. with Coach Tin for Coaching for Relationship. If you want to connect with me, please take note of my email address and my contact number and my Facebook page. And again, I hope to connect with you one of these days. So sorry. Now, once again, I'd like to thank you for watching. This is Coach Maan from Life Coach Philippines for Coaching Think Talk. Coaches like us think and talk like this. This is us from the Philippines. Love, bam, boom. Bye.